Someone said you were not supposed to have sex after a meal until after 30 minutes had gone by. Another asked if you can't eat dessert for that long also, and they all laughed good. They watched the sun go down and Cricket said she was horny again, and Salina piped up and said, I told you to not drink any water for dinner. It always makes you that way. Kip groaned and said let's go get her satisfied. They all headed to the bedroom and he helped them get their arms and cloths off. A shower sounded good, so they all got in and washed the pool water off. Kip said he needed to check and see if anyone needed a shave and felt the girls up good. He declared them good to go and he dried them off and they got in bed. As quick as Cricket was on her back, Kip and Salina started in on her. Kip got by her leg and pussy and Salina was kissing her mouth and breasts. Cricket was soon squirming and she asked Kip to please screw her tonight. After he got her off once, he moved into the T position and grabbed her left hip and pulled his body to her, getting his hard cock into her vagina. She moaned that felt so good and for him to do her good. With the two of them working each end, it did not take long for Cricket to come, and she did so big time. As she was coming down, Kip came and filled her with his cum. This gave her another one. Kip finally let go of her hip and rolled over onto his back, causing his long cock to pull out of her. Salina told Cricket to move her leg over tight and trap the cum in her until she could get to it. With her knee, Salina managed to help Cricket turn 180 degrees and Cricket got Kip in her mouth to enjoy their mixed juices. This put her pussy in a position for Salina to get to her and lap the juices on that end. When Cricket was done, Kip said for her to go after Salina's pussy and he would take the top end. He pulled his totally paralyzed lower half behind him up the bed to Salina and she slid down onto her back and they both started working on her. Cricket said she was sure wet and dove in. Kip went right after her breasts, sucking hard on her nipples and making her squeal. Cricket made her come right away and she even came a second time with Kip working her breasts over. When he moved up to her face, he whispered in her ear that he would fuck her good after Cricket left and he could get hard again. He went back to kissing and using his hand on her breast. Cricket was determined to get her off at least one more time and Salina finally gave it up, really bucking her hips as she came. They all said that was great after their breathing returned to normal and Cricket said she hoped she could last until morning. Kip threatened to push her out of bed and she snickered. Kip turned to her and started kissing on the area of her missing shoulder, marveling at how sexy it looked. Cricket loved the attention they gave her both there, and where her hip should have been. After a while Kip moved to her flat chest and sucked on her nipples. Cricket finally asked Kip to help her get in her wheelchair, that she was going to her room and call Trisha, her new para-friend. Salina asked if she knew about the three of them and Cricket said yes, she had used it as an example of how disabled people had sex no matter what was wrong with them. Cricket said, did I do something wrong? And Salina said she probably should have asked them first, but it was okay. She was all for helping someone get to enjoy sex. She kissed them good night and went to her room. Kip and Salina looked at each other and rolled their eyes. Kip was very glad this girl was willing to give Cricket a ride to school and back. Kip got alongside of Salina and asked how she wanted to get screwed. Salina looked at him and said she wanted to get T-boned. I took Kip a few seconds to get it and they both started laughing hard at the new name she just gave his position. She added she was smart letting him do Cricket first, now he would last longer. Salina moved into a position she could get her nipples into Kip's mouth. While sucking on her nipples, Kip could also look over and watch her stumps. Salina could also look down Kip's body and see his crippled, atrophied legs just lying there, unable to move at all. Seeing these features of each other's body really turned them on. Seeing movement in Kip's cock, she looked as it filled out and got hard. In one way she wished she had a hand to masturbate it, but a stronger thought said she was glad she had no arms or hands to do it. Kip's first anniversary gift to her was the best thing in the world he could have given her. She thought for a minute of waking up after surgery and looking at her short left arm stump and then turning her head and seeing her even shorter right stump. Both had bandages around them, but it made her feel so good. She looked at Kip sitting in his wheelchair alongside her bed, but they could not reach each other for a kiss. He kissed his hand and put it up to her mouth, and she kissed it back to him. For the first time she saw tears in his eyes, and she knew they were tears of joy for her. Kip brought her back to the present by biting a little harder on her nipple. It sent a shock to her pussy more than it hurt. She was able to nudge his head with her arm stump, and he looked up at her and she said, "Please move down and fuck me." It took a bit of effort for him to move his paralyzed lower body down, but he did and got across her bottom, lying on his side with his hard cock poised right at her vagina. Salina had lifted her legs up over his body and put them back down on the bed, with her feet and calves against his back. Kip could not move his paralyzed hips to thrust in and out of her, but he grabbed hold of her hip with his hand and pulled himself back and forth that way. All of his cock went in at one time. She was so wet, and he continued to move in and out of her tight sheath. Salina told him how good it felt, and she soon was moaning his name, urging him on faster and harder. Kip wished he could get his other hand free to stimulate her clit, but it was trapped beneath him the way he was positioned. Salina soon said she was getting closer and panting his name, muttering different words of sexual encouragement, some of them the bad words of "really getting screwed good by your lover." Her hips finally started bucking and she started her orgasm. Kip was able to keep up with her, and continued to screw her and keep her coming. He also was glad that he had come in cricket so he could stay hard and cause several comes for Salina. He lost count, but started to feel his cum flow up his dick and erupt into her pussy. He just pushed in as deep as he could and held in place as he ejaculated into her. Down the hall Cricket was smiling as Kip and Salina made mad, passionate love. She was in bed now, but knew that was what they were going to do when she left them. She had gotten her vibrator out of her bedside table, turned it on and put it on the bed where she could reach it with her foot. She had gotten in bed and was able to get it between her toes and into position to push it into her vagina. She slid it in just as she heard them start, and pushed it deep into her. If she was careful, and put her heel against it by the bottom end, it pushed into her G-spot. As she heard Salina yell out with her first orgasm, she pushed down on it and it did hit her G-spot just right and sent strong tremors through her. She relaxed the pressure for a while, just enjoying what the vibrations did, and when she heard Salina start up again, she pushed it harder up into her, and this time she held it tightly against her G-spot and soon came big time. After her cum, she squeezed her pussy and it slid out onto the bed. Using her one leg she scooted around on the bed and took it into her mouth, licking herself off of it. She also held it and pushed the on-off switch on a place on the footboard she had found to turn it off. She heard Salina get off one more time, along with Kip, wishing she was still in there to eat her delicious cum as it flowed out along with Kip's cum. She was also turned on, wondering what might happen when Trisha was over there sometime. She dialed her number,